Everybody, it's Will Curran from Endless Entertainment, and it's time for another exciting episode of hashtag Event Icons. But before we jump in, it's time for you guys to bust out your phones, pull up your TweetDeck, your Hootsuite, your HubSpot, whatever you use to manage your social media, and we want you to share hashtag Event Icons on Twitter and Facebook. Start using the hashtag Event Icons right now because we're going to be having a conversation on Twitter. So just tell your friends to tune in to event-icons.com, and we'd love to have them join in and join the conversation. If you've never watched hashtag Event Icons before, this show is not like a normal podcast. It's about you, the audience, being able to ask the questions of these fantastic event icons we have on the show. We have some really great people today. Really, really excited. So if you just use the panel over on the right-hand side and submit your questions, we'll be answering them the entire show. So go ahead and do that right now. But, you know, we have so many people on the show today, and we have a really awesome topic to talk about, so we're just going to jump right in. And instead of me, doing the usual reading the bios thing, I figured these guys need to speak for themselves because we're actually talking all about the awesome show coming up next week called Ctrl-Alt-Delete. And you might be wondering, okay, what is that? I never heard of that before. Well, you're definitely going to figure it out and know all about it by the end of the show. But first, I'm going to introduce Dalia El-Ghazar. She's going to introduce what Ctrl-Delete is and talk a little bit about what you're doing, and then introduce Aaron as well to show everyone a little bit about why we're here today.
Hi guys. Hello, hello. Good evening from our time zone. Will and I are across the pond, but so happy to be here with you. And Will, thank you for hosting us for this episode and for giving us the chance to explain about what Ctrl-Alt-Delete is. Ctrl-Alt-Delete is really a collaborative event, and I have to say, in a very short time, the passion and the energy that came up when we, Aaron, Liz King, and myself announced that we are going to be doing this event, it seemed like overnight, basically, and on a Slack conversation that went wild, and all of a sudden it just caught on fire, and the best part about it is it truly meant a lot for Eventprofs all over, whether they're starting, whether they're in their careers of being event professionals, and it's almost like a reset. We decided to come up with the idea because there was a brain date that was going to happen in Europe with some amazing thought leaders and just voices within the industry and outside of the industry. And since it wasn't going to happen, we said, you know what, we're going to make it happen. And so with that, Ctrl-Alt-Delete was born. And just the amount of people wanting to support it, and you can see it here from the Brady Bunch that we have here, but it's fascinating. So like within, I want to say, almost less than 2 weeks, we have an amazing roster of mind-bending speakers coming together from all over the world. We have about 15 pop-ups coming up. And I'll leave the Canadian to talk about that effort as well. But we just signed on Cape Town, South Africa as a pop-up event. So this is not only a virtual event happening on August 23rd, full day, but people are like, we still have that heart and soul of meeting face-to-face, which is what we are all about. And we're going to do it even if it's smaller groups, but going to do it together. So that's basically it in a nutshell. There's more behind the scenes, but we can talk about that in a bit.
Well, speaking of the behind the scenes, I mean, so you, Liz King, and Aaron were like the masterminds behind this whole thing. But Aaron, like, tell us, like, what did you do to bring this all together? I mean, you were really instrumental in making this all happen too.
Okay, so seriously, first of all, the two ladies who I'm working with are unbelievably crazy good. So it's made this job pretty easy for me. For me, it's an industry thing, right? So I'm super I'm super passionate about making sure that the industry moves forward, and I think one of the challenges with today's industry is it's so segmented. You have different association, different job titles, different people. In fact, most of the people who I've been talking to, I didn't even know before this happened, which is a shame considering that I've been an association leader and all sorts of things. So for me, when I had the opportunity to kind of jump up and talk to Dahlia, who I'd never met before, and Liz, in fact, who I've known for a lot of years but have never, ever met face-to-face. So we kind of just took an opportunity and said, you know what, like we have complementary skill sets, and I think we jumped on board. The appeal for me is really that the industry as a whole, no matter whether you're an event planner, a meeting planner, an audiovisual person, social media strategist, whatever you are, I think we're all going to hear the same message, right? And so I think for me it's important that if we're gonna go ahead and move the industry, I think that we're all moving it together, right? And so is there a fire alarm going off here?
That is
Sure
sure
is. That means that's powerful what you said.
I knew I was going to cause some heat on this call, but like I didn't think I'd cause fire all the way there. Okay, so
I need you to mute Tess.
So
This
for
is
me,
what
I
we
think
do. We
it's
set stuff on fire.
absolutely. It's hot in here already. So for me, it's kind of like, I can imagine that we're going to have, 500 viewers plus. And I think one of the cool things about that is I can imagine all of us having, one leg tied to each other and taking that step forward at the same time, right? And it's very different than anything else that I've been a part of or conceived of before, from the standpoint that no matter what your discipline is, you're going to hear the same messages, and hopefully it will help us to start the conversation on regulations and things like that, which I think is important.
Awesome. So, I mean, we have a couple other amazing people on the line. One of which has had a fire alarm go off and has to dip out really quickly. So we'll get to Tess in a little bit. But why don't we start with Anthony? Tell us a little bit about what appealed to you about Ctrl-Alt-Delete, and what are you doing to help kind of make this all happen?
Sure. I mean, very similar to what Aaron said. FMAV, who I work for, is the largest Canadian-owned audiovisual and event technology provider. And I was sitting in a Starbucks cafe, like we do in Vancouver, having a Google Hangout with Elisa Hurley, and who heads up our client solution division in Ottawa. And she mentioned that this thing was happening. I hadn't heard of it at this stage, and she directed me to the website, and we immediately said, "This is amazing. What can we do?" And I think they just just thought up the pop-up viewing party idea, and so we jumped on that immediately, company-wide. We rolled it out that afternoon, and we have offices across Canada, and immediately started reaching out to different venues that we're in and started trying to get together as many pop-up parties as we could. And now, as a result, we have parties in Halifax, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, I believe they made the numbers a little bit down. Sorry, guys. Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver.
Don't apologize at all. You guys took Canada by storm. Do not apologize at all. They came straight
Absolutely.
to the rescue, and basically, you could feel the energy coming through the inbox when Alyssa and Anthony, they're like, okay, what can we do? And all of a sudden, boom, they're like, open pop-ups.
Awesome.
We're doing
And
one in every single Canadian town and city, so it was absolutely phenomenal.
so with Canada obviously taken care of, and Anthony's got that on lockdown, how many exactly pop-up locations are we at so far, and what other cities are we going to be in? Feel free anyone
So
to join
right
in.
now,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, right now, I think we are about 15. So international, we have Amsterdam, London, Belgium. We have all of Canada, thanks to Anthony and to Alyssa. And we have also Atlanta. We have NYC. We have DC. Thank you, Laura. And we have, who am I missing? We have
That's a really good
Dallas.
Yep.
We
I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to find my list right now.
have Dallas.
It's been so cool. Atlanta.
Atlanta, awesome.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so awesome to watch people like, all of a sudden in my inbox I'll
Well,
see something.
and I think
Yeah,
that's mainly it. Oh, and Cape Town
that's
as
right.
well.
And Cape Town.
Atlanta. Tess is doing Atlanta.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So wait, real quick. I mean, let's jump.
Yes,
Tess,
it's
you
been
you just
top
survived a
of my
big,
list.
big,
So,
gigantic fire right now, Tess. Tell us a little bit about like, so what's it
so
take,
Tess is back, so she can
to
talk,
host a pop-up?
Will, about Atlanta.
Yeah. Tess, I think you might be muted still.
Uh-oh.
Gotta love
Oh,
technology right now.
see,
Go ahead.
got
There you
it.
go.
So, Aaron, we're known as Hot Atlanta, so you got it started for
All about
us
events.
with
Hotlanta, that's it.
going on, right? So yeah, so I'm doing Atlanta. I'm co-hosting it with Tracy Stuckcraft, my partner in crime. Very excited about it. We've got a great sponsor, Hotel Indigo, that stepped up to the plate because we had to do a quick turnaround, as everyone knows. And I think it's going to be great because of a lot of our industry professionals were already signing up for the virtual. So now we're bringing them around and saying, okay, hey, let's get together and really talk about things that matter. We stay on the road all the time talking about event tech, social media, how do these things happen, seeing great sessions, boring sessions on the road, but really what is going to dive deep into really addressing our needs. And I'm just excited that we can lay back and chill and do this and not be high stress and do all of it.
So, I mean, has it been stressful kind of pulling this all together? Like, I mean, you
I
guys did
don't
this in
think
two
so. I
weeks.
mean, we naturally do that. I mean, right? We're
True, true. It's the most stressful job in the world.
right. We can do like that in a day or so. But I think
Sure.
the most important thing that I'm getting out of it, and I think everyone will get out of it, it is a true global collaborative movement. And I think collaboration is the key. We talk about it all the time when we're talking about engaging um, our participants, our attendees. What kind of ways can we get them excited? But I'd like to see Dahlia's gonna laugh at me. She hears it all the time. I like us to do a case study on this, right? Go ahead, laugh. On how we literally put
I'm
this
laughing.
together and the energy that it took because it was contagious, and I think it was just about love, really. So why this is happening?
Awesome. I definitely love what you guys are doing too.
I have
That's
to
what we're getting
say,
involved in.
yeah, I have to say, and Aaron, back me up here or tell me like I'm completely crazy, but
Oh, you're completely crazy
no,
even before you speak.
you can tell by the big hair. But honestly, for everything that we do as event professionals, this has not been that stressful. And I think it's because all of a sudden people came in with their own expertise, like Samira, for example, and she'll tell you what her role is with Control Alt Delete. But everybody came in with their own expertise, their own tribes, which I think is very important. So usually events have a hard time launching or have a hard time putting butts in seats because you always have an event organizing team that is trying to do absolutely everything. And they don't reach out to certain people to collaborate. It's almost like a hub and spoke, So we had the hub, and we sort of reached out to all these people that had expertise, had their own communities, had their own list of, hey, I'm going to reach out to these 10, 15 people, or wait, do you need AV? Let me reach out to Will, or wait, you need PR? Let me reach out to Samira. And this way, it was like, that's the collaboration. And I hope, I think that's the way that events should happen. The collaboration, the collective thinking, speakers getting together, putting them on a call all together before an event, that never happens. And I don't, until now, understand why. Because every time we go to an industry event, what we want the most, what we desire the most, is that we all get together first and exchange notes, and then we are there to educate the masses.
I
and I
also
think
think,
this is the one aspect. Yeah.
yeah, I was just going to say, I think that the industry itself is also so starved for some people to have a voice and step up and say, here's some of the new ideas and some of the ways to kind of stop some nonsense. You know, we as an industry, we don't have things like barriers to entry, and there are no real regulations. It's one of the very few industries around that, you know, nobody knows what to charge or how to get in the industry. And, you know, some people, you know, plan one wedding and all of a sudden they're a celebrity planner, and there's no, you know, no one's stopping people from copying, you know, someone else's verbiage from their website and, you know, changing, I have 25 years experience to I have 25 days experience, and using the rest of the words. And I think that the industry itself is so starved for a voice or a collective voice to stand up and go, look, here is the way that this industry is going to move forward. And I think if you look at the agenda that we've put together with the speaker base we've put together, it's all forward-thinking individuals, right? It's all people who are smart people, business people, savvy people, right? And people who have earned the respect in their positions no matter what discipline they're in, right? And I think as an industry, so many people are looking at you know, specific personalities and saying it's time for a group to step up, right, and kind of lead an industry. And I'm not saying that this is what this is, but it made it kind of really awesome from the fact that leaders from different disciplines all got together and kind of said, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm good at, to make sure that, you know, there were some checks and balances in what we were trying to do, and not just, hey, we're going to throw this shit together because, you know, we can. Right, and I think that that's an awesome thing to have experienced.
Awesome. Samira, I saw you nodding your head like crazy during this, and obviously, like you're super passionate about this, and that's why you wanted to get involved. Tell everyone a little bit about like what got you involved in this, and why you're here today.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I was also looking forward to the industry event that was supposed to take place in Amsterdam, and I was really disappointed because I know a few of you, a few of the speakers. I follow them on Snapchat, on Twitter, and yeah, I was a bit disappointed. And then I heard about the Ctrl-Alt-Delete, and I thought by myself, oh, maybe I should organize a pop-up event. But then I didn't know it was already taken care of by Talia, so I was like, yay, let's see how I can help out. Because I live nearby Amsterdam, I know a lot of people here, so I thought, well, because I'm a local, maybe it's easier for me to arrange some things. But like every event manager, they're really good at arranging things, so most things are already planned. So I asked Dalia, what can I do? How can I help? And she asked me to get, how do you say that? Butts in the seats. I like it.
It's really so Samira went and did PR for us in Amsterdam and got us like Dutch coverage. Like this, it was awesome. It was.
Yeah, for me it's easy to do because oh, I can't hear you anymore.
Everything's fabulous. It's just it's incredible. So this is all so good.
Awesome.
Thanks, thank you. Yeah, and I really like Oda say before. I really like to.
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So like Oda said before, I really like to. I like communities. I like to learn a lot. I like to get inspired, but also inspire other people and share my knowledge. So I think it's a really nice way to get each other to the next level.
Awesome. So I guess I want to kind of pose this question to everyone, and maybe we'll start with Aaron in answering this one. So kind of there's been this rumbling in the industry about an industry-wide event that got canceled, right? And that's where this event kind of came from, right? Is that, you know, what does this event look like? And I think that's what like the whole reset thing came from. And I loved it completely. That's why we wanted to hop on as well. But I think we were talking a little bit beforehand, and we talked a little bit about stakeholder orientation, right? How can we make sure when an event is canceled, how do we communicate it a little bit more properly? And I thought it was just a fascinating topic to talk about because we've never talked about it ever on the show before. Well, Aaron, why don't you start off with us? You know, what would you see as, you know, what was done poorly about this event, and what would you see as the proper way to handle a cancellation of a big industry event like this?
Sure. So first of all, you know, I would say have the nuts to tell the truth, right? So whatever the situation is, right, pick up the phone, you know, get on your Skype, whatever it is that you're going to do, look everybody in the face and tell them what's happening, right? Because I think that when you're going to go and you're going to reach out into an industry and you're going to procure what you think is going to be the greatest speaker lineup of, you know, any program. I think that you inherently take risks ultimately, that you're trying to put together a great group of people. Those people are going to agree to the terms that you'd like to have. And at the end of the day, they deserve to be treated well, right? So, not seeing a screen grab from something, or, all of a sudden, hey, oh no, I guess guess this isn't happening. So I think that's the first thing, right? I think transparency, I think, having the ability to be able to be honest with people and say, we tried something and we failed, and are you willing to help us out of a jam, or are you willing to, you know what I mean? Are you willing to concede your, anything we've done? Are you willing to, whatever? Is there still time for you to reschedule your plans so that it doesn't impact your life or whatever else? So I think that's number one, right? And then I think number two, try to turn it into something, right? So don't just abandon it, right? I think, as a captain of a ship, you're the last person to jump off, right? Not the first. And so I think, when you're going to have the courage to put yourself out there and say, hey, listen, I'm going to do this, and it's because I want to be an industry leader, then lead, right? Don't follow. And I don't like it, because I think that you're a person leading what's going to be an amazing conference about trying to teach people how to be better professionals, right? So I think you got to be, first in, last out, unfortunately. And so I think it teaches us lessons about, look, you know what, if you're not going to do it, that's okay, but, follow through, do something, be transparent, all of those things that we're trying to teach new professionals. I think that's really the flaw about it. And to be honest with you, in the short of it all, just be honest, right? Our industry gets such a shitty rap for being, sketchy, and people don't believe this, and they get a quote from you, but they still want to call the suppliers to see what you're doing and all this stuff. It's so poor on us as an industry, right? So just step up and say, you know what, I screwed up, and this isn't going to work after all, but what do we do?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Anthony, I see you smiling, and you have like a big nod on your head. Like, tell me a little bit about what you're feeling about this.
It's the Canadians. Here we go.
And Aaron and I have had this discussion at length, I think, in the past as well.
Sure.
Probably with a beer in our hand. But yeah, I back up everything he's just said. I mean, we do have a bit of a image problem in especially in the corporate world, that we're not to be trusted. That event professionals are, operating out of their garage, and we need to double check everything, and we can't form relationships, and we need to shop around, and we need to get the best deal no matter what, and don't think long term. And I think a big part of an event like this, and I think a big part of what this group has done in bringing this together, is about having that voice, like you said before, showing that we are leaders within our industry, that we have standards, that we value each other's opinions, and that we can collaborate on an international level. So I think an event like this is really important. I'd love to see more events like this happening. I'd love to see, I'm personally in FMAVs involved in a lot of associations, but the idea of bringing all these associations together more, although they serve as different sectors, bringing them all together and having a collective voice and showing we are serious, we are professional, I think it's vital to our industry.
Awesome.
Can I jump in there a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead, Tess.
I'm so glad you said that, Anthony, because for so long I never could understand why I need to straddle between the big boys. I don't need to straddle between GAMPI and PCMA, and I don't mind calling names because I just don't. I shouldn't have to straddle. I have love for both. I have friends in both and relationships in both. And we took a step in our GAMPI chapter, NPI Georgia chapter, which is a new name, and did collaborative events with other organizations for our annual. And I didn't get why that's only been 2-3 years in the making. Why is it taking so long? Like, really, somebody's going to steal from someone. To me, I think it's better to pool resources, pull brain, think tanks together. But then on the other side, the supplier side, I'm sure suppliers too would say, you know what, I'd like something really good, thoughtful, pull everyone together on a national level, not just local. And let's just do it and really get down to the nitty gritty on what we really truly need, instead of all of this surface stuff or people coming to meetings and conferences just to get CEUs. You know what I'm saying? What are we really saying if we're just spoon feeding people and giving them awards just for attending, but there's no thought moving around about what we do. So
Awesome, awesome, fantastic. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add to that?
I think so something that Kevin White, one of the presenters who's going to present, and I don't want to steal his material, but Kevin White said something to me. He said, as an industry, it's frustrating. We spend all of our time fighting tooth and nail for our little slice of the pie, instead of getting together, learning how to bake, and baking a bigger pie for everyone. And I hope this event and events like this in the future will help to make that bigger pie.
yes.
Awesome, fantastic. Dahlia?
Well, I think the goal, the goal of Control-Alt-Delete ultimately, and this is what pissed us off the most, was it's a big brain date. And when I say brain date, I mean it in the sense of this is us getting together and moving the needle. We have to. And it's not about us being, as Tess was saying, part of an association or a chapter. This is us trying to do things collectively, collaborate, put competition aside, all of that. But if we don't do it now, and we keep talking about, oh, this great event tech, and oh, this way of digital marketing, all of this, but we don't do it collectively, we will never move this industry forward. And I think not only did we, can you hear me or no?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yes. So it's not only about bringing in the speakers like Kevin White and David Adler, Julius and Stefania Contivecchi, and
Oh, did we lose her? Oh, we might have lost
and,
Dahlia.
it's international as well as North American and Canadian as well. But it's all about, thinking that, sorry. Anyway, it's all good.
Oh, I think we lost Dahlia. It's the internet cafes of Paris, France, which cannot be trusted at all. I guess to kind of take a step back, so we kind of talked a little bit about, the frustrations, obviously, on the stakeholder side of us being either speakers or vendors, but, as attendees, what do you think that, that's obviously in a weird spot because they're the ones who have put money in, maybe, sponsors obviously have put some money in as well, but attendees, they've blocked out their calendars. Do you think there's a communication plan beyond just obviously, like Aaron was saying, with being honest, but do you think there's something more to the communication? Like, is it, do event planners have to make sure that they have 100% money back guarantees? Or are we in like a Kickstarter kind of time now where, hey, we're putting money in and you might not ever get it back, what are your thoughts on that? Samira, do you have any thoughts as far as, because were you planning at being at that conference and, did you have to make other plans and, make that happen?
Yeah, I was supposed to be there, but I was a partner, so I blogged for the company, and I worked for them for a little as a freelancer. So I was supposed to be there, and I wanted to get inspiration for my blog. So fortunately, I didn't lose that much money. I don't know how other people. I saw a message on Facebook. People asked Ctrl-Alt-Delete about the tickets, and that she saved a lot of money to travel to Amsterdam and visit. So it's a bit difficult because Ctrl-Alt-Delete is not the same. It's not the company. So I really don't know how people. I don't think we can find everybody who was supposed to come over, but I don't track that, so I don't know if Dahlia can jump in, but I hope you can reach as much people as you can, and that's why I also want to help in the Netherlands to send out a message like this is a good alternative.
Well, I guess then maybe to pivot the conversation then at that point is that you mentioned how it's a good thing that, hey, maybe people don't have to pay the money because they can tune in online instead of having to travel halfway across the world. Aaron, it was probably like a very deliberate idea for you guys to say, hey, like we could have just done another event in the Netherlands, or we could have just done, an event in New York, but you guys decided, hey, not only are we going to do hybrid, but we're also going to do these pop-up events. Was that, deliberate, or did that kind of come out of everything? Like, what were you guys thinking behind that?
So I think, first of all, I think that, let's be honest, I think a lot of people might have either lost money, lost time, lost whatever else, right? So number one, I think it's to accommodate everybody, right? Again, I think for the three of us, the one thing was consistent key messaging, right? And I think that for me, to know that there are people all over the world listening to the same message at the same time, that's super important. And then in terms of the pop-up, it was really just one of those things where we knew Dahlia was going to be in Amsterdam already. We knew Liz was going to be in New York. I had a ticket to Amsterdam, so the question was where was I going to be? And then ultimately it just made sense to kind of say, okay, listen, look, like, we already have 2 locations that we can do live, and then the host venue in Amsterdam kind of just was happy to host, and Liz obviously is one of the most connected people in New York, and if she's watching, hey Liz, and so I think that that was made sense. And as people started jumping on board, like, Anthony's team was so gracious in being able to say, hey, we'll take Canada on. And, I think it's so cool that not only will people be hearing and seeing the same message at the same time, but we have breaks built into the schedule as well. We have some time in between each speaker to kind of catch up, and then we have, of course, a lunch or dinner break or kind of breakfast break, depending where you are in the world. And, I think it's an opportunity for people to then go, hey, that was really cool. So we've strategically placed people at different areas of the schedule to kind of have and create conversation, right? For me though, I think ultimately it started just to fall into place, and people are really thirsty for knowledge, and I think they're thirsty for knowledge from a new face of people. Right? And so this came out, and it was not about a company, it was not about a profit, it was not about a specific message, it was not about an association, it was just about an industry, right? And I think things like that happen. You look at things throughout history, like, a Woodstock or anything like that, that's what happens, right? People start to gain traction, and people start to notice it, and they just want to be a part of the experience, right? So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. I kind of want to ask a quick question. For those who do not know, actually, one of our co-hosts who you've seen on the show before, Laura Lopez, is actually on right now, and I'm hoping that she is standing by right now as I ask this question. But my question is actually for Laura. So we talked a little bit about, attendee perspective, the sponsors and the partners related to events. Anthony and Samir and Tess playing pop-up events, but Laura, who's online with us right now. Laura, can you tell us a little bit about your perspective as a presenter for the event?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on today's episode. As a presenter, well, what do you want to know specifically about?
I guess, like, what inspired you to want to present at this event?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, all of you guys. It was just an incredible lineup, and when I started to receive, notifications that this event was happening, and it's just such a great idea. And I also think that the industry loves trends and loves trying out new things, but, I think this is probably going to be, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because I am presenting and hosting a pop-up event, but I think that this is going to go down in history as one of the most successful hybrid events, where there's not only an in-person piece to the event, but there's also a streaming piece. It's literally covered internationally, so we're good there. So as a presenter, why wouldn't you want to get involved with this kind of event? There's world-class speakers, the agenda is amazing, and so I just wanted to make sure that I got in on it. And what I'll be presenting on is about community building, and it's been a theme here that, in our industry, we're much better and much stronger together than we are by ourselves. So,
hey, Laura, do you want to hop in so people can see you? Sorry to interrupt, but why don't you hop in? I'll hop out for a
Yeah.
second. It's okay.
I'll turn off my webcam, Laura, so you can hop in. Oh, or
Oh,
someone.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead.
okay. Let me turn my webcam.
Everyone gets to see Laura's beautiful face joining us. Everyone's so used to Laura's been amazing these
Aaron
last couple
started
episodes.
himself
I've been traveling, and she's been hosting the show like a rock star. So go ahead, Laura.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. So I would just say that as a speaker, being able to talk about community building in the events industry is just great. It's so meta. We're building community by hosting these pop-up events. So we have that in-person community building effort, but then it's all digital. So we're all making friends. Like I haven't met half of you all. I mean, I feel like I've known Dahlia for forever, and I've never actually met her in person. And so I think this is a great way to show that community building is successful when you have both the in-person and digital presence, and so I think it's going to be great overall.
Awesome. Can you give us a little bit of a tease on what you're presenting about?
Yeah, it's about how to build community in events.
Ooh,
So kind of
awesome.
how to build your own events community. So I know all of you have, I'm sure, amazing people that you lean on for anything that you need, and whether you're in a jam or you're looking for an EventIcons co-host, or you need an AV provider or a planner or a venue, how to kind of build your own personal events community. It's something that we're all sort of doing intrinsically, but there's a lot more things that we could be doing to making sure that everybody remains engaged and that you're not always hitting people up when you need something.
Awesome. Dahlia and Aaron, can you guys talk a little bit about the content in general too for the show, and what else can people expect to be talked about at Control-Delete? Oh, Dahlia, you might be muted right now.
I will move out.
Aaron, if you'd like to join.
Is Aaron still here?
Aaron, I think that's going to be all you. If you want to hop your camera on and talk a little bit about the content. Ooh, did we lose Aaron? Well, I can tell you guys what I'll be talking about. For those who don't know, I'm actually presenting at it. And as decided today, I'm very known for last-minute decisions on what my content will be. But I'm going to be talking about what you should do to reset your event with AV. So I'm going to be talking a lot about the cool stuff that you can do to kind of like freshen up your event, do things differently, and really shape it up and do some awesome things. So be prepared for that one. I figured it was setting for the Control-Delete theme. Aaron, can you talk a little bit about the general content and what other things people can kind of expect to hear about at the event?
Nope. Yeah, I mean, so I think we have such a cool and wide variance of people, right? There are people I know really well. There are people I don't know. A couple of the sessions that I'm excited for, and people I've seen speak before, so I can actually talk to them. Obviously, Nick Borelli is going to be speaking on digital engagement, which I think coming from he's kind of one of those people in the industry. I know Laura knows him as well, but one of those people who people want to hear from when it comes to how to engage digitally and not just like where to press the button on your Snapchat and how to make cool filters. So I think there's that. For me, if you haven't heard Kevin White speak before, he's a guy that's super passionate and excitable, and I'm super stoked to see him. And one of the really neat things we've been able to do actually is to close the show, and besides the fact that myself, Dahlia, and Liz will all pop in at some point and say something fun, we just kind of need to slot ourselves in somewhere, but it's been so super cool to watch people want to jump in, and I think what we've done is we've to accommodate everybody, both from a time perspective and everything else, to close the day from about, give or take, about 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock in that area. We have two of the most influential people, in my opinion, in events today. So Andrea Michaels is going to speak, and she's one of the most awarded, Hall of Fame event producers. I've seen her speak before. She's a friend, and she's going to speak with a couple of her staff members from Extraordinary Events. She has written books and is super in tune on what the industry needs from the event side of things. And then Julia Solaris is going to, as of now, close the day, which you know, everyone who knows him knows that we're going to get something really cool and something innovative to close the day. So yeah, I think we have such an amazing cross section of people that I think we're just going to, you know, everyone. I promise you, if you're watching or listening or whatever else, everyone's going to get something out of the day. So if you're sitting at your desk and you're working on, you know, floor plans or schedules or whatever you're doing, you know, hopefully using social tables, right? And then
So good.
and aside from that, though, hopefully you're able to have a little bit of audio on and a little bit of video on, and just be able to see people's faces and learn. Right, and I think whether you're an association member, you go to conferences. I just came back from the ILEA Live conference, and I do a lot of speaking as well inside a lot of the associations and stuff. And I think for me, every time I can have a day or a speaker or something that I get a good takeaway from, you know, I think it's awesome. And I think it's really rare to get such a cool, experienced, and wide-varying group of people together in such a short period. You're guaranteed to learn something for sure.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Very cool. Do you have anything else you want to add on the content side?
I don't know if you guys can hear me, so this is where audio is not working really well.
It's all good. If you need
Can
to,
you hear
too,
me? Probably
you can
not.
turn off your webcam, and it might
No,
help out
I'll
with the
do
bandwidth.
sign language. Yeah. So I will turn this off.
There we go. I think we can hear you
Okay,
better.
this
I can
help
still
at
hear
all?
you. Yeah, I can still hear you.
You're good.
So, see, Laura and I, we're just like connected. That's why she's the only one who probably can hear me right now. But, no, I definitely agree with Will. I do hope that this is the start of many brain dates that we have together, and that it just keeps on growing. And, you know, with the use of very good internet, not in Paris cafes, but like better internet on Wi-Fi access, that it will just be that it will just bring us closer together. You know, from Cape Town to London to Amsterdam, and you know, having that a bigger brain date, so to speak. And who knows, maybe one day we do get to meet face to face and even have a big party. So. But for now, I think this is a great beginning to a wonderful start, you know, new kind of event.
Awesome. Cool. Very cool. And you can probably hop back on the video now. So we were just having some technical difficulties. Yes, hopefully better internet than the Paris cafes for sure. Laura, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask? Laura's always we have dubbed her the question master if you've ever played King's Cup before now.
Question master. Oh boy, I'm terrible at that game. Really terrible at that game. So let's see here.
We got a couple more questions in the questions pane.
Yeah. One other question is when is the event and how do people get to attend? We've alluded to it, but for those of you, I see that there's actually a couple of new entrants here. Let's see who's out there. Heidi, Peggy, thanks for joining us. How can they get involved with Ctrl-Alt-Delete?
Yeah, I mean, first thing, you know, hop onto the website and register.
And what's the website?
It's a good question. It's events.bizabo.com/Ctrl-Alt-Delete.
Awesome.
Did I get that right? I'm
There's
not
no
the technology person here, okay? So I like usually read it off a postcard from FMAV or something. So
Yeah, no, but it's
we're not trying to hard sell this. Just by evidence, by like we asked Aaron, like to tell us the URL. We don't even know off the top of our heads.
Sure. No, it's
event.bizabo.com/Ctrl-Alt-Delete.
That's right. So, you know, just register. That's the easiest way. Or, you know, each of the individual pop-up sites has their own registration page. So, get in touch and show up there. And, you know, I always encourage people. We are an industry that strives on live face-to-face, obviously, no matter what discipline we're in. So I always encourage people, if you can, get out to the sites. If you're in Canada, hop out to an FMAV site and go check them out. They're going to be super nice, and they're going to have a great setup in each of their locations. If you're anywhere else in the world, make sure you go see Dahlia and Will in Amsterdam, or go see Laura in DC, or Tess in Atlanta, or everyone everywhere else. But I think it's awesome. So I'm flying to New York, right, to hang out with all the New Yorkers, and I think it's just an awesome opportunity to see people face to face and shake hands and get to know everyone. So I'm super excited. Just whatever you're going to do, the one thing I would say is get involved, right? Step up, and for me, stepping up is just registering, right? And there's no, look, I get nothing out of it, honestly, except some happiness to see that, there's another step being taken forward in our industry. But, just register and get involved. And to me, that's enough, right? Get engaged and get involved and learn something that you didn't know, the day before. So.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I just tweeted the URL, so you can just click on my tweet. There.
Yes. So if you haven't already, obviously share your hashtag EventIcons on Twitter, and if you follow the Twitter hashtag EventIcons, you'll see Anthony's link with the registration link. We also posted it in the chat over on the right-hand side, so be sure to definitely go ahead and do that. It's coming up. It's next week, so you want to definitely be there.
So I can hear Liz in my headphones literally cursing the fact that I don't know this stuff.
She's gonna laugh once you watch the recording of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So I guess the last question I have for you guys, and I think we have so many of us here and so much amazing brain power. I'm going to skip over my usual second to last question and grow to probably one of my favorite questions to ask is what cool resources, books, blogs, articles you read, apps, what else? Like tools that you've used, scuba masks, whatever it may be that you want to share right now with the audience. We're going to start with Anthony, since I know always as an AV guy, I always have like 100 different cool things. I'm like, oh my gosh, check out this cool new light. Anthony, I know you got something cool up your sleeves. What's your favorite resource?
So scuba masks. My favorite scuba masks is I think probably the big thing I'm really pushing is collaborative online communication tools. That's been the big thing that's sort of changed the way that we operate as a company. So whether that's using all of the Google apps that are out there that are pretty good. I mean, Microsoft's gotten a bit better with Dropbox and being able to collaborate on documents, but I just want to get away from email. I'm so sick of my email. I hate my email. I think a lot of people hate their emails. There's things like Slack out there. So just people start looking at how you can collaborate on the cloud, online, and start working a bit smarter and a little bit less hard. That's my recommendations to the industry.
Awesome.
Hey.
Tess, what about
Amen.
you?
Amen.
What would be your go-to resource that you'd want to share? And we're going to do this again. We're going to go back around, too, because I'm sure there's more you guys got. Oh, Tess, I think you might be muted. So, Laura, you're up. Cool resource you got.
Resources. Be sure to look at Bizibo's latest blog post about the top 7 meeting and event podcasts.
What?
So for anybody... I'm not... Well, okay, so full disclosure...
This was a shameless plug. You get your shameless plugging twice now.
Social Tables, ours made it onto the list, but there's a ton of other ones. Gather Geeks.
EventIcons.
Yes, and EventIcons. But seriously, though, it's great. So if any of you all have unusually long commutes, podcasts are a great way to just stay engaged. So I definitely recommend that. And then if you all are trying to attend the DC event, please register. The website is events.bizibo.com/Control-Alt-Delete DC.
Awesome. Cool. Tess, all right, you're up. What's a cool resource that you want to share?
Oh my, a good cool resource. Why the tough
non-event
questions
planning,
for me? I can't ever decide anything because I like them all for different reasons. I just think that Dahlia's going to laugh at me. I think Twitter is the best resource on the planet.
No.
laugh at me. I do.
Here,
Oh,
here.
God.
I do. I do. I mean, and the reason being is because if I follow the Eventprofs hashtag, if I follow the meetingsprof hashtag, it is so diverse and people are talking about so many different things. I can stay more abreast than having to go to individual blogs, websites, blase, blase. I can be, and it's by the second.
So
So,
you think the
I kind of
meetings
start
prof and
there and
event
then go.
props icon or the event props hashtags are the like key like a big resource for you?
Absolutely, it's a huge resource. I go there and then go other places.
Awesome, awesome. All right,
Coach
Aaron,
Webb, there you go.
you're up.
Yeah, okay, so I kind of have two. Don't be surprised here. So first, I say get outside of your industry and your comfort zone, right? And go learn something, right? Because for me, look, I've had the opportunity to meet some of the best and in my opinion, the brightest that the industry offers, and I've had a chance to learn from some of the best, right? But I also take the opportunity to get out of my industry and understand that we're in a business, right? We are a business. We're not the events people, right? It's not even, even the events industry is really loose. We are a business, right? We are a creative business. So we need to understand how advertising people, marketing people, public relations people, they've managed to establish themselves from what was probably once looked at as, oh, those people, do silly drawings in magazines, to, a major industry. So that's my number one. Get out and learn about other industries, right? Because you'll be able to bring back pointers there. More importantly, the biggest resource that I have is my voice, right? So, I say that because I find that when people talk about, they go to Twitter, they go online or email or whatever else, right? Well, here's the thing, right? For me, the biggest resource is I'm going to pick up the phone. Right? If I want to know something super serious about AV, yeah, I could tweet you guys, or I could, Facebook message or whatever else. But if I really want to understand something, I'm going to pick up the phone, right? Because there's nothing like personal connection. So I'm really, really key on old school style business. I think it's so important for a resource for an industry like ours to be able to see someone, shake their hand, ask a question, look them in the face. And so, that's my big takeaway. Well, I love that we're doing all of this online. I'm so super excited that people will be getting together to do it. And whether it's 4 people or 40 people in a room, I think it provides so much more opportunity for people to get to know each other, for their voices to be used, handshakes, personal connections, looking people in the face, and understanding that when somebody says, here's what I do and I'm passionate about it, it's not just in written word, but you can feel it, right? So all of those old school techniques, use those resources. You're born with them. Right? You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to learn technology. You don't do anything. Just use what you got, right? And shake your moneymaker a little and go out and do something good.
I love the ludicrous lyric.
It's for the ATL.
That's true. It is ATL. That's true. Awesome. Dahlia, and do you want to wrap it up for us and tell us about your awesome resource you have planned?
Dahlia's gone.
Absolutely.
Oh.
I shut my webcam off. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you perfectly.
Yes? No? Awesome. So I'm with Aaron in regards to stepping out of our events industry, as well as because we're all about people. So it's not only about face-to-face, but it's also about personal branding. And I think we get so wrapped up in what we do, we lose what our brand is, what our voice is, what we stand for. Whether you're working for Social Tables, whether you're working for yourself, everybody has a brand. So my resource to everybody is Sally Hogshead, How to Fascinate. And basically this is almost like a brand assessment, a personal brand assessment. It takes maybe less than 10 minutes to take 28 questions, and it tells you how the world perceives you. It tells you what your core advantages are. It tells you what your dormant advantages are, and that's very important. And then all of a sudden, when you realize and you read your report, it's really, really true. But then you get to notice how people perceive you and also how you fit within a team.
Awesome. I love it. And yeah,
and how you are able to understand other people as well. So Sally Hogshead and Simon Sinek that would be the ultimate conference, is to have Sally Hogshead and Simon Sinek speak together. It would be awesome. So.
I've seen Sally speak before and did the survey and everything like that. And I forget what mine are. I took it at the Inc. Magazine's Leadership Summit like years and years ago, and it was awesome and absolutely awesome to have. It's almost like a little bit like a you know, TTI kind of you know, if you ever done disc theory, kind of a little bit of that kind of assessment. Very, very cool. Samira, did you have any cool resources that you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, it's not really original, but I try to follow as much as resources as I can. So I don't have a favorite, I have a few. But to keep track of all of it, I use a social media monitoring tool. So I entered my own keywords that I want to follow, like event tag or like Eventprofs, and also Feedly. I don't know if you know it, but there I can track all the Dutch resources and American resources. So I'm following everything on top.
Awesome. And what do you use for your social media monitoring, you were saying?
Yeah, it's a Dutch one. It just went international. It's called OB for One.
Okay. You'll have to send me the link for that, and I'll post it in the notes.
Okay, I will. I will. Thank you.
Awesome. And I'm a huge fan of Feedly too. That's how I read all of my my blogs as well. My last cool resource for all of you guys too, and then we'll wrap up the show, is a new tool I found. Speaking of, you know, taking things communication from email, is called Notion. Notion.so. And if you've ever, you know, ran a company, which I think a lot of us have, where you know, you have to document processes and, you know, how to do things, and you need a company intranet. Some people have set up these elaborate like wikis where you can edit all these things, and wikis are awesome, but they're very much like 1990s, right? They're impossible to set up, they're impossible to manage, track changes. Notion.so is like the new modern wiki, basically, and it really cool, designed for company intranets, and it's how we're actually doing all of our documentation for Endless, so that way we can keep track of, hey, how do you use the coffee machine, even though we don't have an office? You know, how do you log into your email? All of that's inside of Notion. So if you're ever looking for a place to put a lot of information in, Notion.so is really, really awesome. So yeah, I mean, we have unfortunately ran out of time. There's like so many more questions that we want to ask, and you know, we'll definitely have to have you guys all back on the show again for another episode. But I want to give a huge thank you and applause to all of our guests today. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And so for all of you guys tuned in right now, be sure to tune in to next week's episode of #EventIcons. Just use the same link that you used to get in today, same time and place. We never move, and we'll always be here, 5 p.m. Eastern. And also be sure to tune in Wednesday as well for an amazing show that is Ctrl-Alt-Delete. We post the link over in the chat for you guys to register and be there, and we hope to see you guys all there. And really, really exciting. So one big thank you again to all of our guests, and thank you to all the attendees for being here, and we will see you guys next week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.